What is going on, guys? This is the Vaulted Podcast, your number one source for cards, collectibles, and the community. I'm not Shivam, your one and only host for the evening and every single week, 365. And we have a special guest today. His name is CalebXSwag. You can find him on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. So this is definitely a different podcast today. This is definitely different because typically speaking, our podcasts are about cards, but we're definitely going to talk about cards a little bit today, but it's mostly about Pokemon and its influence on fashion, as well as hypebeast culture getting conjoined with Pokemon and anime and whatnot, and the designer side of things, because I think that portion is steadily growing. How anime is definitely getting involved with brands like Champion, stuff like that. And you know, obviously you're the expert on this, so I want you to talk about this. But before we get right into it, guys, thank you guys so much for joining and subscribing to the Vaulted Podcast. We finally hit 1,000 subscribers last night. We are officially in the process of monetization. So again, thank you guys to all of you, for all of you guys who are listening to us through Spotify, Apple. If you're watching us here today, thank you guys so much. It means the world. And, you know, I can't thank you guys enough. There's also a lot of, there's also a bit of news that I kind of want to talk about. But we'll save that towards the end. I'll fill you guys in. It's some good stuff. But let's go ahead and get right into it. And yeah, so we have Caleb here. Caleb, what is going on? I hope you're having a good day. How was your weekend?
Good, man. Shiv, thank you so much for having me. Weekend was good. Played in a volleyball tournament, lost, and just got to hang out. I'm flooring my freaking house right now, so it's like horrible, but everything's good, man. Everything's Gucci.
I know what that's like. Right now, we're getting the bathroom renovated over here, so
You're renovating
it's
it yourself, though?
no, I'm not. Dude, I'm too busy to do I'm not a handyman either.
Dude, me either, but hey, you gotta learn sometime.
Yeah. I'll eventually learn it when I have enough time. But kind of before we get into your upbringing and how you got into collecting, kind of give us like a little bit of your credentials, because a lot of people don't really know who you are.
Yeah, for sure. With CalebXSwag, I kind of just started that name. Caleb is my first name, and I dropped the X just because I'm straight edge. I don't know if you know what straight edge is. And then swag, I think, is just such a stupid, silly word. So I just put it all together. And yeah, dude, I'm CalebXSwag. Started on, it was an Instagram thing. And then I started a YouTube channel, started a TikTok channel, kind of just dropped everything with CalebXSwag in it. And yeah, I started on TikTok with the super dope anime collabs. It's kind of like my catchphrase. That's probably what most people would kind of I'd be able to identify me as, and I've been able to accrue a nice solid 212 some thousand followers in the last year and a half. I have been monetized on YouTube for over a year, and yeah, I still for some reason can't get that bonus feature on Instagram though, but you know, everything's
Dude,
cool.
it's tough. It's so tough. Like, I know people that were getting the bonus functionality that were getting less views, and they had started a lot later than I did. So I think it's region based. I think eventually everyone will have it, or it'll be done by followers. So I don't know. I don't know the exact aspect of that. And I think on this podcast itself, we'll actually talk about content creation in general, because I think that's a big portion of who we are as individuals, and I want to talk about that for you, and get to and let people know the intricacies of what you do. So you do super dope anime collabs. Kind of tell us what super dope anime collabs is all about.
Yeah, you know, I guess I kind of saw this TikTok thing blowing up. I uploaded my very first YouTube video back in like 2011. So I've
Mm.
kind of been interested in YouTube and content creation for the last, decade or so, but I didn't do content creation until about 2020 during the middle of COVID. But I was just like, I saw the big craze with this TikTok app, and everyone was kind of on it and blowing up extremely quick. So I downloaded it, and I would upload a video every day with just some stupid something, like show off my collection, talk about this, make a funny joke, whatever. Nothing was working. And then all of a sudden I just said, super dope anime collabs. Let's talk about Naruto and some other, I can't even remember what it was. And dude, it somehow blew up, got some followers, and I just rolled with it. So that is what happened.
Yeah, I mean, like I remember the first time. I think right around that time, TikTok for most collectors was still relatively early. You're one of the very first few people that I've known on that platform. I know Alex Hodges was there. You kind of came right around the same time I did, and we both kind of like grew at the same time, and there was a level of camaraderie that we kind of built, at that time, and it's still going on today. So like you definitely blew up, rightfully so, because I mean the things that you're talking about are actually really really cool. You're talking about you're letting people know about certain drops in the sense of how a lot of these anime based companies do their collaborations with a lot of these other different companies, whether it's toys, whether it's food, whether it's manhole covers out in Tokyo, whether it's it can be designer as well, like Levi's, stuff like that. And I think that level of collectability is just so undernoted. Like it's not given the level of respect as it should just yet, and I think eventually it will. There are collectors out there that do collect vintage clothing, that do collect all these different things that I think is super imperative, of all these different things that culminates of what is a collector. And I think like now as social media is becoming more and more predominant with this sort of culture of what we do and what encompasses of what we do, a lot of us do wear anime collab based clothing at these shows, at wherever it might be. It happens. Like you're gonna see someone in some cool anime steez. It happens at these shows, or it happens on Instagram. You just see it and it's like, man, that's actually really cool. It's like being a kid all over again, but it's actually stylish. It's like streetwear. And so I think what you're doing is absolutely awesome, and I think it's gonna take over. Just give it about a couple of years. But the reason why I wanted to have Caleb on the podcast today is specifically because of the fact that I wanted to have him now before he blows up, because it's gonna happen. Like, yes, 200,000 followers on TikTok is a lot, but it's still not enough, and I still think it's way too early. I think Japanese influence will continuously increase within the next few years, especially here in the States, and I just like, you see it already. You see it at Comic Cons. You see it at anime shows like Fan Expo, Anime Con. You just see it. So it's only natural for that to happen. And as anime is officially, anime is cool now. Anime is officially cool now. Like before, when we were kids, anime was never cool. So
I got beat up for liking Naruto. So
dude, I was a closeted anime fan. Like it was cool. It was cool to be an anime fan like all the way up through elementary school. But if you were an anime fan still in middle school, you were considered a weirdo. So like I would secretly watch Naruto and then not talk to anyone about it until I found out one of my close friends was into Naruto, and then we only talked about it like at the end of the day waiting for school buses. And so like I remember what it was like, because like so many people would ruin it, because like there would be that one like kind of awkward kid who watches Naruto who ends up running around the school doing the Naruto run, and it's like, come on, you're really doing this to us right now. But
oh, dude,
yeah.
Same. I was there, man. I remember in like 7th grade, I would watch Naruto, and then I would buy the manga at my local Hastings. And like, I remember the 2 kids that I knew that actually read Naruto. They were like the stereotypical, like smelly kids sitting at their own table. And I'm like, you know what? These are the only kids I know that like anime and like manga. I'm just going to go sit with them and vibe with them, because I don't know anyone else who's into this stuff.
Oh
man,
man,
if you have to.
That was very ballsy. That was very ballsy. For those guys who are in the chat, we got Kitamori, we got Alex PSX, and there's more people that are coming through. If you are in here, make sure you share it to your social media and tag everyone to come through. Because again, this is also a celebratory podcast episode, just because we did hit 1,000 subscribers today. Talk to us about how you got started in Pokemon card collecting, and how card collecting in general, because I feel like most anime collectors, you have such a fond appreciation of anime in general, whether it's Dragon Ball, Yu Yu Hakusho, stuff like that once Pokemon made its headway here to the States, it was just an easy no-brainer to be involved with Pokemon. So like, talk to us about that a little bit. Talk about how you got into Pokemon as a kid, and talk about like what other hobbies that you might have that kind of still exist today when it comes to anime as well.
Sure. Yeah. I guess, I was born in 1992. So by the time 1999 rolled around, I was ready to pretty much soak in everything. Saturday morning cartoons consisted of Pokemon.
Miss those days.
Oh, absolutely. Digimon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Batman Beyond. Mighty Beans, Cubics. I was collecting and into everything. I was like not a sports kid at all. I was not involved in any kind of sports. So I didn't have like Saturday games, or I didn't play like I didn't do any after school activities. I had an N64 and I just wanted to play video games and collect Pokemon cards. So my mom was nice enough to buy me like a Batman Beyond figure every like Sunday after church. We'd go to Walmart and I'd be like, "Give me a Batman Beyond figure, get me a couple packs of Pokemon cards." And then I remember I was sitting in a Wendy's at lunch after we had gotten some Pokemon cards, and I had pulled my very first Charizard of all time, and I was just fourth print base set unlimited, and I was so freaking stoked. It was one of the best days of my life, and I tried to keep it in the best condition I could, even at 7 years old. And like 20 years later, I decided to get it graded at PSA, like 3 or 4 years ago. It came back a PSA 8. So even just keeping something for 20 years and in that kind of condition, and that just kind of sat with me, and I've just been a fan ever since. But I kind of quit Pokemon a little bit, like maybe in high school I quit collecting. I held on to a lot of my old collection, a lot of my old toys and figures, but I just couldn't keep up with the amount of Pokemon that was coming out, and it was just something that I couldn't keep in college. It's like I was a
Yeah,
poor college kid. I couldn't go to Walmart and buy
yeah.
any Pokemon cards.
Not.
So then it was
I know what that's like.
ridiculous.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
But
like, oh, go ahead.
oh yeah, and then just like come college time and end of high school, I was like playing Yu-Gi-Oh with all my buddies and all that stuff. So I've just been a dweeb ever since I was, ever since 1999, I guess.
That's pretty cool how it just kind of stuck with you for so long. I mean, it's not like myself where like I've been an anime fan ever since I was a kid, so I stuck with that. Like that stuck with me throughout the entirety of my entire life. Like I played Pokemon all the way up to college, and then I stopped. I stopped collecting cards around the end of middle school, and then like, I mean, at the end of elementary school, I didn't collect anything as far as that goes from like middle school all the way up to like post college, like towards the end of post college. And then I just got back into collecting again. So like I can relate, not being able to buy, being scared to buy $4 packs and stuff like that. That's definitely relatable. I think that's the case for like a lot of people, especially when they first get into the hobby. It's like, am I really about to spend $100 on a booster box? Like that's sort of like
Yeah,
the thought processes are. So I guess my next question to you is like, what was sort of the idea behind super dope anime collabs, and then what is the future of super dope anime collabs? Because I know that you've been doing it for a while. There's a lot of good things that are currently happening with you. I know not long ago you were invited up to do a group call or kind of like an interview on LinkedIn. Kind of walk us through that, and what is the end goal? Like, what's the purpose of what's actually going on here? Like, where do you see this eventually going, and where do you see anime and Pokemon? And do you ever see like Pokemon, I don't know, collaborating with like Supreme or Louis Vuitton? Because we did see the whole Gucci collab with Pokemon, but that was through Pokemon Go. So,
yep.
If they're willing to work with companies like that on a digital level, I'm sure that the possibilities are definitely limitless as far as that goes. So I just kind of wanted to talk about where do you see this going? Where do you see fashion with anime? How do you think anime has influenced that? Where do you think Pokemon is? How do you see like future shows playing out, like future conventions playing out, especially with like
Sure.
the progression of like all this stuff? Like I know a lot of people that actually bought the Pokemon Levi jacket. So I just want to hear your thoughts behind that.
Yeah.
Just tackle each thing that I've asked, to the best of
That
your
was like
ability.
15 different questions. I'll
Yeah.
knock them all out. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I think collaborations in general, they've been happening for forever. And I think there's something inherently, part of our collector brains that just says, if there's a collaboration, there's limited products. This is potentially a once in a lifetime thing, and it's something that it's two different staples coming together. And this, if you like music, there's features in music. That's a collaboration. There's and that translates to figures and like there are Digimon figures or Pokemon figures. Some are made by Bandai, some are made by Kenner, some are made by Hasbro, and it's just kind of like that collaboration of some brands do things differently, some do this and that, and it all kind of just speaks to we like this, and we like them together. So I think there's unlimited amount of product and content that can be made from anime collaborations. That was something I was extremely glad that blew up. Was you have to pick something content wise if you want to be a content creator that has longevity. And as soon as that blew up, I was like, dude, I'm in the clear to be able to do this forever, because there will never not be anime collaborations or collaborations between two different products or companies. I mean, Doraemon, which is one of the oldest anime ever, did a collaboration with Uno in like 1985. So it's like that's an extremely old collaboration, and that is just going to keep going.
Yeah.
Even with Pokemon's 25th anniversary, think of how many licensed products that came just with that collaboration.
Yeah.
I mean, Pokemon did stuff back in 1990. You have an entire shelf
Dedicated
of
to
collaborative
that, yeah.
items back.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, I think as far as the longevity of anime collaborations or just collaborations in general, it's never going to end. I mean, there is no chance that it's going to end.
I guess my next question to that is that because of where it's not going to end, you as a collector, how do you as a collector assess whether or not a certain collaboration is going to be worth the dollar in terms of an investment / a collectible, right? Obviously, like us as collectors, us as fans, it makes it as an easy buy. But how do you assess something to be a buy in the sense of an investment, right? Like, and I'm talking about yourself. This is not investment advice. I'm talking strictly purely you. Because like at the end of the day, it's like we see so many different things that are overproduced nowadays, right? Like we see certain things that are heavily mass produced. So you as a collector, you as someone who has much more experience in terms of certain things that are about to drop, in terms of licensing opportunities that some of these companies are actually doing, whether it's Naruto and Champion, or Primitive with Naruto, or all like shoot, even Pokemon with Lionel. Like, how do you assess what's going to be worth your penny? How do you assess like, hey, this is going to actually be worth something in the long term? And Kitamori here in the chat says Bape and Pokemon was a sick collaboration, and the same with Adidas and Pokemon. I will say something, and we can go back to that. This is slightly off tangent. I am still looking for a medium size Adidas Pokemon trainer, like on the back. Like that's one thing that I've been wanting, and they've been sold out for God knows how long. There's only
I've got an extra
used
large,
ones,
but that's it.
yeah, there's only used ones on eBay, and like when you search it up on Google, it's like I don't want to use one. I want one in the package. I don't want to wear something off of someone else's back. I just want to wear something that I can, take out of the package and wear. Do you know how fucking fresh that would be if I wore that to shows?
Dude, I love that collaboration. Yes, whoever commented that, you are absolutely right. As far as collecting those specific things and buying those specific things, I think as a collector and as a content creator, there's two super important things that I could definitely tell from experience, is that if you do not like the content you're making and you don't buy the things, the collectibles that you actually like, it's probably not worth it, whether it's a good investment or not. I mean, the things behind you have one of the most unique collections I've ever seen. Do I want half of the things on there? No, I do not want those. Are they worth a lot of money? I also don't know, but probably, that is a collection specific to you and that you're happy with that collection. If I see it all, truthfully, I know nothing. I know jack crap about fashion. I don't know anything about what's fashionable, but if I see, a Champion logo with Itachi on it, I'm freaking buying that. That's just something that I want. Whether or not they mass produce it and it loses value, I don't really care. That's something that I can wear. That's something that I want personally. So when it comes down to collecting or content creating, I think it should always come back, no matter what, to collect what you want. If it goes up in value, that's pretty cool. It's awesome to know that your collection is worth money over time. If it goes down in value, the fact that you got it on your shelf because you love it speaks more than, fact that it's worth money or less money.
Absolutely. I think you kind of hit the nail on the head, and that's sort of been this sort of generalized message that I've been receiving from a lot of people who do come on the podcast as guests, and that's collect what you like, and the cherry on top could be the value of it, right?
Absolutely.
The dessert in itself is more than enough. Like you can have a sundae without the cherry on top, you know what I mean? The fact that you have the sundae should be more than enough, whether or not it goes up or down in value, right? But the cherry on top is the fact that it does go up in value. Like, hey, cool. Like, I had this thing that I extremely love. Like, I love so much. I don't plan on selling it, but hey, it's what it's worth, right? I think something that also needs to be said and added to the conversation is that often at times, if you show something to someone who isn't really participating in this hobby, they always ask that first question when you show something that's definitely different and that you're excited about, and that's what's it worth, right? I always get that. Like I showed this, literally, I kid you not, I put this up on TikTok and it's my most recent TikTok. I put this up on my most recent TikTok, and this is the shiny Bandai Daisuke Club Lottery finger puppet right here. And the first question someone had asked on the thing was, well, one of the questions that was asked is, how much is it worth, right? And so I think that's okay to answer. I think that's something that will eventually come along, that will come across in value, that could go up in value. I don't really care. I just buy it because I love it. I collect it. It's no sweat off my back, right? But also at the same time, if I'm spending like $1,000 on something, I sure as this one cost me $30.
Hey, there you go, man. $30.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
like
dude.
it.
I've
That's
been
what
collecting.
matters.
Well, I mean, some of them are kind of expensive, like the Charizard. It definitely cost me about. Well, I bought this in a lot of. Well, I had the full Charizard finger puppet lot. It cost me $150, I think, for like 40 different pieces. But this one in itself cost me $200. The shiny Rayquaza. So, yeah. And that was like
Would I
before
buy
the
that?
boom.
No.
I mean, I think there's still, yeah, exactly. Because it's only a half an inch. It's only 1.5 inch. Like, why am I dropping $200 on this? But for me, it's like, hey, no brainer. Fuck it, screw it, I'll buy it.
Dude, and that's the
Yeah,
stuff you collect some of the most weird stuff, and it's like
I'm a
that's
weirdo.
who cares, man. I got so much weird stuff in my collection that just makes me happy when I see it on my shelf.
It's like you with Supreme.
Yeah. Dude, Supreme is lame. Supreme is so lame, but they're the kings of collabs. They do some collabs I just have to have. Supreme and Super Soaker. I love Super Soaker. I gotta get it.
Yeah, you are just like Don Diego trading with Supreme. Like if it's like a weird ass collab with Supreme, it's like an instant buy. Like it could be a water gun, it could be a double decker bus for all we know, and you guys would be all over it.
I don't even think I own a single Supreme shirt. I just own
Yeah.
Supreme stuff.
Yeah, I don't own Supreme anything. Like I don't own actual designer of anything. I'm cool with my typical gym clothes, my Hawaiians and pants and joggers. That's it, and I'm Gucci. But no, I like that, and I think the thing is that as time progresses, and I think the point of this podcast that I want to emphasize the most, because like I said before, as this channel progresses, I want to be able to talk about different collectibles, but the parallel will be towards Pokemon or anime. It could be shoes, anything, and I think everyone has something to learn from all these different things. But the reason why I wanted to do this is because this could be an avenue that people will definitely that could explore 5-6 years down the road. This is something that they could go back to. When I first started the hobby, the first videos that I was watching to basically help me monetize my hobby in itself was watching Gem and Pokemon. Zach, he's one of my closest friends today. I learned how to do PSA grading through him, and his video that I watched was like 3 years old when I watched it, or a decade old or something like that. It was really, really old when I watched it, and I was like, okay, like that's how you do X, Y, and Z, and I owe a lot of my collection to him because he taught me that just by watching a video. It's like having informational pieces of content like this is definitely worthwhile, and I think for anyone who watches this now, they're getting in the early sides of things. They're gonna get into the early sides of things in terms of like, hey, maybe it's actually worthwhile to follow Caleb on TikTok, because this guy's always bringing up something new every single week, and he's bringing it not the day it's released, but when it's when it's been announced that it's going to release. Like you're always ahead of the game. When certain shoes are dropping. When a lot of things are different dropping. But I guess my next question to you is, how are you able to figure out a lot of this stuff? Like when you wake up, what is that process in terms of finding this information?
Yeah, I've just been doing it for so long. Like my Facebook page I've pretty much have no friends, and it's all just like informational pages. I'm on Crunchyroll News, I'm on hypebeast.com, I'm on like 5 different informational news Japanese posts, and that's just something that I did way before I did the content anyway. It's like I wanted these collaborations way before I did the content. I wanted to know what was coming out way before the content came out. And I just, part of my daily routine, and it's just part of my discipline, is just to go through these websites for my own personal collection. And when I come across stuff, that was my first thought, is like, dude, someone else out there doesn't know about this. I know it's going to sell out, but this is their best chance of being able to get it themselves. So that's why my content is very informational.
Yes.
I didn't want to bring a lot of different sides and opinions, which I'm starting to bring more opinion, but it's like if you bring pure
Pure
information, I think
information.
that, like you said, is going to be the most worthwhile
Yeah.
content to be consumed and to put out.
Absolutely. And I think that's sort of the reason why you kind of blew up way past me, because your page, one, it basically had a level of consistency, and then two, it was pure value and information, right? That's
Wasn't starting any fights, man.
Hey, I mean sometimes you got to. Nah,
I guess.
Nah, I mean in this case, like it was more so like the reason why I was very divisive on TikTok to begin with was like we came into a time where there was a lot more people who were struggling to find things, and there was a lot of misinformation as far as certain prices go. It's sort of like I guess like to make this very simple and short, it's like going on Facebook and you have that one random like guy or girl who posts like a common WotC Charmeleon and they'll list it for like $100, and you're like, dude, it's like worth a couple of cents, you know? It's sort of like that, and that was sort of taking place on TikTok at that time. And one thing that kind of irked me at that time too was more so like people just taking things off of retail shelves and preventing the opportunity for kids to actually get involved. I think when I was a kid, when you were a kid, we could easily walk into a Walmart or a KB Toys or a Target or something like that and just see what's there, and it was always available to a certain degree, right? It wasn't super difficult. And that's just kind of what got to me, and just people just kind of just taking advantage of certain situations in that kind of context. But yeah, your TikTok was always purely based on value and information, and I think that's something that I definitely appreciated. Like obviously I still have our DMs from when I first messaged you on TikTok.
Oh,
It's like, hey man, you got to keep this, you got to keep doing this. It's too good. And so like
man.
that's something that every single time I'm on TikTok and you pop on my For You page, it's like, okay, this is what I want to see. It's like, oh, this is actually really cool. It's like
Thank
that's
you, thank you.
sick. Yeah,
Oh, dude,
and
I tell
yeah,
this
go
to
on.
everybody. I'm like, Shiv was my first content creator mutual ever. You were my very first one. I don't know if you made a comment on one of my videos. I checked your stuff out. I loved your collection. We became mutuals, and I remember just reaching out to you and being like, dude, I have no other content creator friends. Do you want to do like a collab video with me? And you just said yes. You said yes. You texted me some videos. We did our first video, and hey, we've had probably a couple 100,000 views together on TikTok, and like I'm just very thankful for that. Just the fact that there is a reward for people who just say yes, and there
Dude,
is
before
no doubt
you
about
even
that.
had like before I was even followed, because I know I just recently followed you on CalebXSwag on Instagram, and before you were actually super present on there, I was actually sharing a lot of your videos on my stories, and so
Oh
like
man.
yeah, it was crazy at that time, and so like it's really cool. I think what you're doing definitely adds tremendous value. I think people who are in this space, I think now are starting to understand, and even people who weren't even into anime before, and they see these different collaborations that are happening, especially with a lot of these designer based companies, they see it and it's like, oh wow, anime is cool now. Let me give it a try. And I think what you do is a good way, like it's a good introduction to anime, right? Like so many people get upset about the whole gatekeeping aspect of anime or the Japanese culture or Pokemon, and I just don't think that's like the right way of doing things. And
Mhm.
I'm more than welcome to share the love with anyone who gets involved with anime. Like for me, it's like, oh, you just like got an anime now? Like say less. I'm gonna send you my entire anime list recommendations to make the whole job easier for you, so that way you're not watching bad anime. I don't want you doing that. I want you watching purely good anime. Or just like we'll have conversations about Pokemon. What's your favorite season of Pokemon? Just stuff like that. And I think like what you do is like a good teaser to what is to come. It's like, oh, I don't know who Naruto is, but I'm gonna buy these Naruto Nike shoes, and it's gonna look really cool. It might strike up a conversation, right?
Yeah. I mean, dude, like anime is just it's getting cooler, but if you take Levi's, like everybody's grandpa and dad has a pair of Levi's.
Yeah,
Levi's is cool. Levi's is really cool. Levi's is cool enough to collaborate with Pokemon.
yeah,
Nike is one of the biggest brands on the entire planet. They are cool enough to collaborate with Naruto. Like anime's not cool anymore. I mean, if
right.
you just it never was not cool. People just thought it was uncool until they gave it a shot.
Exactly. It was never not cool because so many people just didn't really give it a shot. Like it's a level of exposure that it didn't quite necessarily receive back in the day that it is now, which I think it's long overdue, but I'm so glad that anime culture is blowing up here in the States. You have, I think, anime culture has had such a massive influence on like TikTok and the whole e-boy and e-girl thing. It's crazy to see how it's Japan, as small as a country it is, has had so much influence to people here in the States. It's just crazy.
It's nuts. It's absolutely nuts.
I guess like my next question to you is, where do you see yourself with this? Like, what's the next step for you in super dope anime collabs? Like, where do you see yourself going with this? What's like the goal with doing all of this? Like, where do you see yourself doing this? Like, what kind of opportunities are you looking at? Who are you willing to work with? Just stuff like that.
Yeah, I think one of the scariest things about content creation is that idea that your content could become irrelevant or that you could become stale and boring. So I think, we are constantly as content creators always trying to think of, trying to be relevant, but also trying to think of that just next thing that can just is the same stuff you're doing, but just has a little bit of a twist on it. I mean, ultimately, there's going to be unlimited Naruto and anime collaborations that come out that I can just make content about. But, I'd love to work with bigger brands or work with things to sort of maybe help make those decisions. I think a lot of people make these collaborations that don't actually like anime. It feels like I see an anime collab come out, I'm like, some dude behind a desk just pick arted some Naruto stuff and just dropped it on a shirt. And so at some point, like
I mean, that's sort of what Levi's did with some of their shirts. It's like, man, some of the artwork was just so simple to the point where they just dragged it and dropped it onto a plain white tee. I mean, no disrespect to Levi's, but like that's sort of like how it influenced my decision to buy the jacket. I know Lucario Forever, who's in the chat, he bought the pants. He might have the shirt. I mean, he might have the full outfit, probably, knowing him. But like, yeah, I just got the jacket just because I thought that was cool. Like, this is unique. Like, I even have like on my mic, I even have the Levi's Pikachu tag like hanging off of it just because it's just so cool. You're about to pull it. Yeah,
I love it.
No,
I had one sitting around here. I was just gonna pull it up too. The Levi's tag.
No, I guess like how do you see are you like are you ever gonna get into the vintage side of Pokemon clothing or anime clothing for that matter? Because like I know there's a lot of vintage Pokemon tees that do exist, that came out during special events, stuff like that. Like, do you ever see yourself getting into that? Do you ever see yourself dabbling in buying whatever that you see on that, like something that would eventually drop, you show it, and then you're just showcasing it on your content? Do you ever see yourself doing that?
Yeah, I think that's me personally when it comes to collecting, when it comes to content and things like that. It's like collecting especially is just like I don't really have a tie with a lot of vintage stuff. It's like if I was there, I liked it. If I had a toy when I was a kid, I might want that toy again. But as far as like all these, I see people posting all their really awesome stuff from like the World Champion Pokemon tournament in 2005. Like, I wasn't there. I wasn't collecting that in 2000. I don't really have a tie to that. Shadowless Charizard, I think it's one of the greatest cards of all time. I think Charizard's one of the greatest cards of all time. I had no tie to first edition or to Shadowless Charizard. I had the connection to the Unlimited. That's the one that I pulled when I was a kid. Yeah. And it's like, I think, living now, I want the collaborations that are going to come out that I can buy right now. The ones that I'm able to go on and cop online myself. I hate buying stuff for resale. I hate buying, vintage stuff just because it's like, dude, I was there. I could have got it. So that's kind of my mentality moving forward. It's like, this is coming out. If I get it, I get it. I guess if I really want it, I'll maybe buy it in a month or so, but I don't really look back to the past and buy a lot of collectibles that way.
Right. Okay, that makes sense.
It's kind of weird. I guess that's kind of a weird thing. Yeah, I don't know if
not really. I think like you're trying. Like I think you said it best. You're just trying to. It's the fact that you didn't experience those things. That's how you collect. So you collect solely based on your experiences. And let's say something drops. You're currently experiencing that drop, so then it's like then in your head it's like, okay, I'm gonna buy it, easy. I'm a fan of this anime. Like, for example, if My Hero Academia came out with, I don't know, like a cereal brand where they have like Uruchako, I forgot how to pronounce her name, Deku,
Uraraka,
you have
man.
Uraraka, yeah, And then you have all these different anime characters, and it's just different cereals. I'm sure that once it drops, you're probably gonna buy all those cereals. Why? Because it's just you're in the moment. You love the anime. You're watching anime in the moment, and that's just something that I think is good. I think a lot of people kind of collect in that kind of capacity, where it's like, oh, I'm only gonna collect things that I bought from back in the day, not necessarily or that you exactly specifically experienced back in the day. It's like, okay, I don't really need a first edition Shadowless Charizard card because it's just literally a stamp without a shadow. Like, I can have this exact same feeling that I had with just a simple unlimited Charizard. And it's that level of simplicity that I appreciate that. I respect that.
Yeah, but I mean, like, Pokemon King Gary, he's like, he knew what he was collecting. He knew that Shadowless
Yeah.
Charizard was the rare thing at the time. That's what you want to go for. And that's like, I had no idea what a Shadowless, I didn't know what sets were from
Yeah.
what when I was 7 years old. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was just buying cards because I like buying cards. And I
Yeah.
like just
Yeah.
collecting because of what they look like. So I don't really have ties with some certain sets or some certain things. So I don't really go back and collect that stuff. I know a lot of people love like Rocket Return set. Like, I don't have any connection to Rocket Return set, so I'm not collecting it.
Yeah. I think for me it was, I think like kind of what fuels this obsession comes from back when I was a kid, where I would like me being when Pokemon first came out here in the States, I was 5, but I have an older half brother and I have older cousins from my mom's side who we would go see maybe once a month, maybe once a week. My half brother would come visit during the summers and during winter, during his breaks basically, and so like he would have a full on binder, and then my cousins would have like I'm talking binders, and it was just this constant flex in my face. And it's like, that's what fueled my obsession. It's like, man, I want those things. It's like, you guys have things that I do not have, and I think it's really cool. I appreciate it. It wasn't like a jealousy or an envious thing. It was more so like an appreciation thing. Like, hey, that's actually really cool. And they were so nice to let me experience that as a kid. It wasn't one of those things where it's like, oh, you can't have this. It was more like, hey, we can let's play the card game, or hey, take a look at this. And it was just more of like a generalized appreciation for all of that. And I guess that kind of influences a lot of my behaviors today, where it's like, hey, if that's something I don't have, I want it. And then the whole flexing thing, I get it 100%. I think flexing's healthy to a certain degree.
Yeah, to a certain degree. I'm glad you added
to a certain
that.
degree. And so, sometimes I pass that line, but hey, it is what it is. I work hard for my stuff.
Bro, dude, you got to flex something, whatever it may be, muscles, freaking collectibles, something.
You gotta do something. I have very little muscle, so anytime I do flex it, it's like, hey, I'm proud because I've come a long ways. No, Professor Oak says that your approach to collecting is very interesting. Lucario Forever said Rocket Returns is definitely legendary, even though you didn't experience it.
Come on, by then, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
man.
yeah, it's all good. I guess let's go ahead and switch gears towards content creation, right?
Sweet.
You're someone who probably has had a lot more success on TikTok versus the average person, right? Like most people who go on TikTok, I see a lot of people from my high school. They make very, very poor attempts at TikTok, and they probably won't ever break like 3,000 followers on TikTok. No disrespect to them. But like for yourself, you've hit 200,000. You're definitely monetized on that platform. And when you pass a certain point in terms of followers, even at past 10,000, there's a little bit more opportunity that comes into play. Let's talk about social media as a whole, right?
Cool.
TikTok has just recently changed its algorithm. So has Instagram. And Instagram has hit it with heavy changes with their most recent update. They're shifting over to a more predominant approach towards Reels versus pictures. And then obviously let's talk about YouTube Shorts and the YouTube Shorts bonus program as well, because they have that now.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's talk about that a little bit more. I know that you just recently, but before we get on that, let's talk about your whole conversation that transpired through LinkedIn. You got reached out by people through LinkedIn, which is definitely different. LinkedIn is a very, very professional place. I'm sure all of us in here have a LinkedIn, or most of the people that you deal with have a LinkedIn. So when I saw that on your story, when I saw that on your TikTok, that definitely brought out a lot of my curiosity to now ask this. What kind of was that sort of conversation like? How did they reach out to you? Why did they reach out to you? And what was the overall conversation about?
Yeah, so it was basically just a panel, kind of like an interview on LinkedIn, where they reached out to me, or they kind of hosted a little questionnaire in a group that just said, "Hey, how do people get brand deals? What do you do about brand deals?" And I commented back like, "Hey, man, I've worked with probably like 20 different brands and scored 20 different brand deals." And they said, "Cool, let's have you answer questions on the panel." So I said, "Cool." And the whole thing was basically around just getting brand deals. How do you work with brands? Because at some point, if you want this to be a
A full-time
full-time
gig.
career, you have to turn your views into money. You have to turn, people into giving you money to do the content you create. There's just no way around it.
Right.
I would
And
love to do this for free and make a living and just create what I want to create
yeah.
for free, whatever, but it's just not feasible.
Yeah, that's just not how the world works. You know. But like I think to add to that, I think what needs to be said here too is that content creators don't make money off of views. It's what comes secondary to that. It's content creators who aren't, Charlie D'Amelio or Addison Ray or let's like Pokey Rev, stuff like that, like something that's a little bit more closer to us, Pokey Rev, Leonhardt, stuff like that. We make most like content creators, I would say micro influencers, micro content creators like myself. We make a lot of our money not from views, but it's mostly through brand deals, sponsorships, and partnerships. And whatever you can nail along the lines of that, that's how you make your living. And I want to talk about that a little bit more towards the end. Well, for me personally towards the end, but for you, you've secured a lot of different stuff, excuse me, as far as that goes. And so I think this is the part where I want to give a little bit more information to people who are wanting to get into content space. So you working with brands, you're not working directly with the brand, you're working with an ad agency. And so a lot of, unless, Toy immediately directly messages you and say like, hey, we want you to do this, this, and this, then hey, go ahead, um, or if that influencer marketing management or whatever wants to reach out to you directly from there, they can. But most of the time, it's mostly through an ad agency. So talk to us about that. How do they reach out to you? Do you reach out to them? If you could offer advice to people who are wanting to get into content creation, like what's that process like? How do you negotiate? How do you put a value towards the pieces of content that you're actually producing?
Yeah, I think when I heard a couple of statistics like the the view count, your monetization views, that is a very low form of income for a lot of
Yes,
creators.
CPM is very
It's the
low.
sponsorship. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So I saw that and I'm like, okay, I have to do this. The other statistic is that, most companies, either their first, second, or third biggest expense is for marketing. It's for making advertisements, hiring content creators. So there is a lot of money out there. And I just
Yes.
put two and two together. We have, as content creators, need to tap into that market. When I also looked at just my views in general or my subscribers in general, just a quick thing about TikTok is if you have 1,000 followers on TikTok, you're in the top like 65% of TikTok. There's 1 billion profiles. If you have 100,000, you're in the top 4%. If you have, more than that, it's just farther and farther. 200,000 followers, a million followers, you're in the top 0.0001%. So
Mhm.
there are way more consumers than there are creators. So just the
Correct.
fact that you have decided to be a creator already puts you at a pretty good advantage. It doesn't matter if you have 2,000 followers or 3,000 followers, you're already way past the top 50% of all
Mhm.
profiles, which is huge. And when I kind of put that together, I said, I need sponsorships. I need to be an ambassador for these brands. I think at one point I just started emailing every brand in my niche. I said, all these anime collabs I'm covering, why not shoot a shot? You miss 100% of the
Dude,
shots you
that
don't
is
shoot.
that is you know what? That's actually very very badass. That's very admirable, and it speaks to level of thought process that you do have. It shows how humble you are too, right? It's not this sort of thought process where it's like, okay, I have this many followers, so I'm just gonna let them reach out to me. It's more so like, hey, I'm going to email every single person because I've put in so much time to this, and I don't really care. I'm just wanting to work with people, and
Yeah,
that's very
exactly,
very
exactly.
admirable. Sorry to cut you off, but go ahead.
No, no, yeah, and so I was just emailing brands after brands, company after company. I would probably send, I would just set a goal of sending 10 emails a night before I went to bed, whether that be to just anything. Because once you get a certain amount of followers, it doesn't matter. People are going to be reaching out to you for partnerships. But I had, ear cleaning brands reach out to me, skincare brands reaching out to me. And if anything, if I post an advertisement about a skincare routine on my freaking TikTok, you know who's going to call me out as a poser? My followers. And they are going to, in a negative way, they're going to say, what kind of BS advertisement is this? However, if I make a TikTok about a collaboration that does 100,000 views, I already was going to cover that video. I might use that as information in an email that said, hey, I did a 100,000 view video. Would you mind sending me some product, or, maybe do a follow-up video for this, just to prove that, that has big views with my viewers. So it's
Yeah.
like, every time you upload something to the internet, you are taking a swing at the fences, and every once in a while you hit a home run. Every time you send an email to a company, to a brand, you shoot a DM. I shot a DM to you, and here we are. We're on a podcast together. We've met each other a few times. We've been to conventions together. That was a shot in the dark. I swung for the fences and I hit a home run. There is no shame in trying. There's no shame in reaching
Right,
out to
right. And I
people.
think just to kind of touch on that a little bit more, often at times you have people who do get into content, right? And I don't think a lot of people are really prepared for the amount of L's you take before you actually hit that home run, right? Like, how many times are you going to strike out before you hit that home run? How many times are you only going to get 200 views before you hit that 1,000 views video? Or how many 1,000 views videos are you going to hit before you hit that, 10,000 view video, and so on and so forth, right? Um,
I think
it's just a matter of
I think the pinned comments on TikTok was one of the worst updates ever, because you go to someone's profile, you see their top 3 biggest dubs on TikTok. You need to live with the L's next to your dubs. You need to prove that you got the L's too, man. And I never pinned a single video, because I'm like, you know what, dude, if anything, this makes me strive for that next million view video, instead of, here's my 8 million view video, here's my 7 million view video. Nah, dude, those are in the past. Get me the next one.
Oh, I'm guilty of it. The only reason why I do it is because I, like, in my head, it's like, oh, if I pin this, like, do the views go up? Like, dude, is there any sort of metric change when it comes to that? So, like, I don't even know, man. Like, TikTok was one thing that I never really figured out until like 2 months ago.
Dude,
And
it's
that's
a
just
beast. It's hard,
it is a
man.
beast, but like, you really do learn. It really does put you in the ringer. And I think, like, for me, myself, as an individual, as someone who's been in content, I didn't take YouTube on immediately, right? I tried and made 2 videos and then I stopped. I have not produced any YouTube videos on my actual personal YouTube channel since. Why? Because I didn't know how. At that time, I was not comfortable talking in front of a camera. I was very, very nervous. I was like, what do I even say? What's the next thing do I say? Like, if I stutter, which it does happen from time to time, especially because I have, a million thoughts running at a million miles per hour, and my mouth can only catch up to like one thing. But it's one of those things that it took me a lot of practice, and I think TikTok kind of actually helped me get to that sort of level a lot faster than normal, because I took a lot of L's before, hitting home runs. And then, once you learn from those L's, it's like you start building upon that. It's like, okay, this is what I did. This is what I like. When you start assessing the situation and you start looking back at certain pieces of content, and you address a lot of the things, and you address criticism and stuff like that, your content does become a lot better. And it's like, that's happened throughout time. As a content creator, your content becomes more refined. And I've seen that with your content. I've seen that with my content. And the way that you handle a lot of your brand deals or partnerships is actually very, very impressive, because you're not afraid to actually cold call or cold email people. Like, people don't understand that that's all it really takes. And 9 times out of 10, they're going to say yes, especially if you've proven yourself, especially if you've put in time into it, they're going to say yes. Which I've learned. I've learned, like, a long, long time ago, that all it takes is just, hey, walking up to someone, talking to them, figuring out what they do, and just connecting and just talking shop. I think that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, dude, there is no shame in shooting a dry email. You see, if they say yes, they say yes, and you got an opportunity. They say no, opportunity, that's fine. If you don't shoot the email, the opportunity never existed.
Yeah. I think
And that's scary.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I think I think we covered really good topics in this particular podcast before we wrap things up. I want to go ahead and give you the opportunity to kind of plug whatever social media that you have, and just kind of talk about whatever you do on those specific platforms. I know you're on YouTube. Is everything underneath the same the same name?
Yeah, everything's CalebXSwag. I mean, feel free to check out whatever you want. YouTube is do a lot of reactions. That's just what stuck with YouTube. But
Yeah,
dude, you can react to freaking anything, which is awesome thing I
yeah,
found out. You can react to Pokemon stuff if you want.
yeah.
TikTok, Instagram, dude, feel free to hit me up on whatever. Shoot me a
I
DM if you want to collab. I'll collab with literally
yeah.
anybody.
Yeah, and I mean that's regardless of the size. I think that's imperative. Like Caleb is the type of dude to collaborate with people who are just passionate. I think that's the biggest thing. Um, one thing I will say is that I highly, highly, highly recommend all of you to follow him on all of his social medias. But if you're gonna follow him on that one thing, follow him on TikTok because the dude is ahead of the curve. He knows his stuff when it comes to like future drops with certain things. And it's like when I go on TikTok, that's what I look at because it's like, oh, this is the steez that I want. Like this is the shirt that I want because it fits with this fit. I want a dope ass anime based gym outfit. So I'm gonna go ahead and see what Caleb has going on his TikTok, where I'll just scroll through his feed and just see what's going on. And I think that's like the best thing you could possibly do, as someone who wants to kind of get an idea or feel for what he kind of posts. And then on that note, it's CalebXSwag across everything. What's the next show you're going to be at? Let people know so that way, if they see you out in public, they can say hi, hello. They can shake your hand, hit you up, take a selfie, do whatever.
Yeah, dude, I will be at Denver Collecticon in October. Free to come up to me and smack me in the butt. I don't care, whatever. We can film some content, dude. We can do whatever, man. I'm down for anything. I love people who say yes. So I'm just like, go do stuff, go try stuff, go to a convention. If you've never been to a convention, do it. I give so much to credit to freaking Shivam. He just dry messaged me and said, go to a Collecticon. I said, all right, dude. All right, I'll freaking go, man. Can I hang out with you? And you said yes. I don't think we even hung out.
Dude, we
But...
didn't. And that's one thing. I do apologize for that because like
Oh,
I
no.
wasn't taking into consideration of how busy I was gonna be because of the panels that I had to do back to back on both those days in Orlando. Like I was not expecting that. And
Dude, no
I
worries.
genuinely feel bad because it's like, man, that's like time that could have been pretty dope in terms of content.
Dude,
Yes,
all right.
Professor
I met
Oak,
so
you
many
did get
people, and I just
permission
lost
to
it.
spank him. Yes, you did get permission. So track him
Make it
down,
hard,
find
make it
him.
hard.
And do just that. Last few things I kind of want to talk about, and this is something I've been kind of wanting to save. I finally got the green light for it. So a couple of weeks ago, I talked about me having the life changing opportunity, and I can finally talk about it now. Because it's been stressing me the crap out. So just to give you guys an idea, this company reached out to me 2 weeks ago on a Wednesday. I sent them my quote on Thursday. Did not hear from them for a straight week. I kid you not, for over a week actually. I heard back from them yesterday, and things are going the way I want to. And actually, another company reached out to me today too, which is crazy. So yes, I am partnering up with eBay. I am now a eBay partner. That means I'm getting a massive bag, which is like conservatives. I don't know what. I'm not gonna tell you guys how much I'm going to be making, but what that means is that there might be a few different changes to the channel. I don't know yet because I have to have that conversation with eBay, but essentially there's exclusivity things I have to talk about. Am I allowed to bring X, Y, and Z to the channel? Who am I supposed to have as far as guests? Stuff like that. Those are things that I kind of have to like make sure that's approved and okay. Like I can't just have like someone from Whatnot on the channel. I have to make sure I have to ask. So those are things, or different marketplaces, stuff like that. Just smaller stuff. But I officially started yesterday. My service started yesterday. I see that I'm starting to work with them at the national this week, but I won't be doing anything with them yet. I will be doing stuff with them at Gen Con. So that's also a big announcement. I am flying out next week to Gen Con in Indianapolis. I will be there from Friday all the way up to Sunday afternoon. And if you're there, see me, say hi, hello. And I will be at the New Jersey. What's it called? I will be at the New Jersey National this weekend. I land there Thursday morning. I'm there till Sunday evening. So make sure you say hi, hello. Stop me if you think I'm busy. I'm not. Just say hi, hello. I'm more than happy to have a conversation with you and just talk to you. That's one thing. Like most, like I think one thing is very similar between you and I. Whenever we have people who approach us, we actually take the time to talk to them. It's not more like hi, hello, and then you move on to the next thing. It's more like hi, how are you? And if they just compliment you on your content, it's like what's your name? Thank you, giving them a solid thank you. Like thank you for watching my content. I appreciate that. Just stuff like that. I think that's one thing. Just being real, being honest, and just stuff like that.
I'm no better than anybody else out there.
Exactly,
sure.
exactly. And that's pretty much it. I hope you have much more success. I see it. I see it. Like the motivation is there. The right amount of motivation is there. The right amount of guts it takes to be a content creator. You have all of that. So.
Thank you. So
I
much.
I think that's a true testament, and I'm honored to have you on the podcast. Guys, I also wanted to ask this question before it's actually dropped onto Discord. Discord's going to be going through changes this weekend. Kang here will be fixing things up, and there'll be a few polls here soon. Kang is officially the community manager for this podcast, so everyone give him a round of applause for that. He'll be making sure certain things happen throughout the Discord. And if you are a mod on Discord, we'll have a conversation about that kind of stuff too. But as of right now, Kang will put up a poll. Would you guys like to see more shorts in terms of content? Contents about shorts with Caleb and myself. We'll leave a poll in the Discord, so keep that in your heads, keep that in your thoughts. Caleb will have you on the Discord as well, and we'll kind of go from there. We'll have more discussions about this after the podcast, obviously.
Good.
But on that note, guys, again, make sure you follow CalebXSwag on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, if you have Twitter, Instagram. Find him on LinkedIn, hit him up, do whatever. Just give him the attention that he deserves, and that's pretty much it. Again, thank you guys so much for being a subscriber of the no longer Time podcast.
Oh my gosh,
the Vaulted Podcast. We're at, I think, 1,020 subscribers. We applied for monetization last night, so we'll find out soon. We'll find out if we meet all the prerequisites and they have no issues with this channel, and we'll just kind of go from there. I'm super stoked, and again, thank you guys. Again, like I said, we don't really get paid because of views. It's more so based on performance. So the views leads up to those brand deals. It's like, hey, you get this much attention, you're gonna get this. That's where we make our living from. So again, share this, blast this. If you enjoyed this podcast, if you felt like this was informative, if you want to see more content like this in the future, definitely let us know. If you're listening to us through Spotify or Apple Podcasts, give us a 5-star review, and then again, make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Just to go over the channel sponsors, TCG Stadium is a online card shop based in Nashville, Tennessee. Jimmy Sun is an amazing dude. Make sure you hit him up whenever you have any questions, comments, or concerns. Follow them on Instagram. Go on to www.tcgstadium.com. You can buy all your modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Pokemon product. Pokemon Network, Kenley is this short Asian dude. He runs around with a Pokemon Charizard onesie and is constantly yelling, woo, for no reason. Or it's just way too excessive. He has everything from the lowest and affordable card slabs product all the way up to the most expensive product or expensive slabs. If you're looking for it, he's more than willing to work with you. Make sure you hit him up on Instagram or his Facebook page, the Pokemon Network. Let me know if you do join the Pokemon Network. I can add you. I am a mod for that page as well. We also have Double Infinity Gaming, which is a online card shop based out of Southern Florida. They have an expertise and a extreme vast knowledge on Magic the Gathering. Guys, I just pre-ordered Magic the Gathering Mischief Secret Lair Fortnite collab, so we will be doing an unboxing of that in September. I'm super stoked about that. But if you have any particular questions about Magic the Gathering, I know nothing, but I'm learning. Just hit them up. Julie and Will are amazing people. And then finally, the Collector app. The Collector app is the most advanced portfolio tracking app there is. You can track numerous amounts of TCGs, numerous amounts of Funkos, and add it to your portfolio. Even lets you add sealed product. And honestly, I use it. I use it all the time. I think it's the best thing there is. I think a lot of my followers, I think a lot of people out there are using the application in itself, and that's just extremely awesome. For those guys who are in the podcast and watching today or you plan on watching after, make sure you comment below on who you'd like to see next as our guest on the Vaulted podcast. Thank you guys so much. Caleb, thank you for joining us, and we will see you guys on the next one. Peace. All right, we're done.
Oh yeah, man. Thank you. That was a